Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from a Frontier. Thank you for stopping by. I'm always grateful. This morning I attended the Kengen full year earnings release at the Stanley Sarova, which interestingly was where the first shares at the Nairobi Stock Exchange were ever traded many years ago in the exchange bar. Please scroll down on Rich Wrap-Ups. I've done quite a bit of analyses around those results, which was startlingly good. I did an interview with the Managing Director, Albert Mugo, and that will be uploaded on the website later today. But those were strong results, and I'll come back to that as I get down to Kenya. Home thoughts. I'm reading several books actually at once, but one of them is Death in the Andes by Mario Vargas Llosa, who's made a big impression on me, I must say. And this book begins with a mystery. What happened to three men, a mute, an albino, and a construction foreman, who suddenly vanished from Nacos, a remote mining town in the Peruvian Andes? It concludes with an enigma. How slender is the boundary between civilization and tenebrous horror? The novel's indecipherable mystery is exquisitely attractive to the clear, transparent country that is a genial reader's mind. Death in the Andes offers horrors even more harrowing than Shining Path. The Sirochos mountain people believe that their rugged terrain is haunted by apus, tutelary spirits of the local summits, who must periodically be propitiated with ritual slaughter, cannibalism. Pishtacos, demons who suck the fat out of living human bodies, are said to wander the mountainside. In civilized places, nobody believes things like that anymore, Lituma says. But the corporal is not in Pura anymore, and many in Nacos believe that the Huyaco, the Andean avalanche that defeats the efforts to build a highway and nearly kills Lituma, has supernatural origins. It really is a very powerful book too. If you get a chance, maybe you can read it. Political reflections start with the lyrics from a song by R.E.M. That's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight. I'm losing my religion. And I thought of that because of what events that are developing in Jerusalem. And let me put up a fabulous rose sunset from Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem. And from there I jump to this quote from John F. Kennedy: those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolution inevitable. The Russian intervention in Syria will engage them in a sectarian war, the source said. The source said on Monday, adding that the kingdom warns of the dangerous consequences of the Russian intervention. The Saudis will continue strengthening and supporting the moderate opposition in Syria, he added. The source said he was citing positions outlined by Defense Minister, Deputy Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and Foreign Minister Adel Al-Jubeir during meetings with President Putin and Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on Sunday in Sochi. My conclusions are this: Putin had to move with dispatch and thereby alter the facts on the ground. I'll put up a photograph of the Saudi Arabian Crown Prince and Foreign Minister meeting with Putin and Lavrov. And you'll remember on the 5th of October, I said you could hear the squealing start immediately from Ankara to Riyadh, from the GCC to Washington, as Putin moved against some of their assets. All these capitals have assets on the ground in Syria, and what is clear is that Russia is not making a distinction between IS, or the moderate opposition fighting Assad, which really means our terrorists. Lavrov said if it looks like a terrorist, if it acts like a terrorist, if it walks like a terrorist, if it fights like a terrorist, it's a terrorist, right? I said Putin fancies himself the fly catcher, Syria the fly trap. put up a photograph of Lavrov and Al-Jubeir talking with journalists after Putin-Prince Salman talks, saying talks were productive. And then the MFA Russia tweeted Lavrov, as for information attacks, President Putin has reaffirmed our willingness to confront allegations with clear and concrete fact. International Markets Sab Miller's board has agreed on the key terms of a sweetened takeover proposal by Anheuser-Busch, valuing it at £67.9 billion, which is $104.2 billion. Several rejections. This is a record industry deal that will bring 1 out of every 3 beers sold worldwide under a single company. Budweiser maker will pay £44 a share in cash for a majority, gaining brands such as Peroni and Grolsch and giving it control of about half the industry's profit. Pretty big deal. Charting the market's 9-day rally undone by China. After 9 days of gains, global stocks are falling as data from China highlights the fragility of domestic demand. Imports sank 20.4% in dollar terms in September, falling for an 11th straight month, extending the longest losing streak in 6 years. The 3.7% drop in exports in dollar terms was smaller than expected and may indicate the devaluation of the yuan is helping local business compete overseas. Oil had its biggest drop in 6 weeks. The big gainers of late, the Aussie, the Kiwi, all fell back as well. Let's move on to the currency markets. The euro is at 113.78, briefly topped 114. Dollar index around the 94.79 level. Japanese yen 119.72. The pound 152.44. Aussie, which when I walked in was around 0.7298. India rupee 65.065. South Korean won 11.50.12. The Real 375.68. Egyptian pound 783.36. The Rand 13.44.62. So we've had a little bit of a reverse of the recent trend. Let's see what develops now. I'll put up a 3-month chart of the dollar index. I've been saying for a while I saw it staying on the back foot. I'll put up a chart of the euro, which briefly squeezed through 114 on dovish Fed comments. And the implied probability of liftoff in 2015 has dropped to 38% now. Commodity markets, gold. This is a key level, 1155. This was the resistance level. We come back to test it. We should see us push back up. Crude oil, torrid session after strong gains, back at $47.33 in New York. Moving on to Africa, Mark Anderson tweeted a nice infographic. African countries due to hold elections later this month: CAR, Congo, Ivory Coast, Tanzania. South African all shares up 6.12% year to date. Dollar rand, let me put up a 6-month chart. It's kind of in no man's land until we get more direction. EGX 30, that's Egyptian, down 14.41% year to date. Reuters is saying Nigeria's Buhari has sent his second batch of cabinet nominees to Parliament. The Nigerian all shares down 12.77% year to date. Ghana Stock Exchange Composite Index down 12.19% year to date. Zambia has cut its 2015 copper output forecast up to 26%. Zambia, of course, depends on copper exports. Copper exports for 70% of all its exports. Kwacha down 46% this year alone. Chikwanda said in an interview Monday at his office in Lusaka, the capital, next year it will be an easy target to beat. I'm sure the mining industry will come up. Zambia had budgeted for copper prices to average about $5,000 per ton in 2016. He said, we are not very euphoric about the price of copper. Copper fell to $4,855 a ton on August 24th, which was the lowest since July 2009. Botswana says it will use some of its $8.5 billion in foreign exchange reserves to stimulate the economy after a drop in diamond prices hit growth. The world's biggest producer, President Ian Khama. The value of rough diamond exports from Botswana's mines fell 15% in the first 6 months of the year. We have realized our economy is going to stagnate. This is Khama. The time has come for us to make bold decisions and implement these new projects that will boost our economy. But that doesn't mean we're going to be reckless, he said. Here, big news is that Imperial Bank has been placed under management of KDIC to guard the interest of depositors, creditors, and members of the public. This was an announcement made earlier this morning. I've got the link for the central bank release if you want to have a look at that. Rich wrap-ups and also on the front page. Then I couldn't resist as I scrolled down the central bank's Twitter feed. On October the 11th, the Central Bank of Congo delegation came on a study tour. Kenya is set to plan $750 million syndicated loan with banks. Talks involve 3 lenders, the person, CFC Stanbic, Citigroup and Standard Chartered PLC. Money would be used to ease a cash crunch in government coffers. At its latest Treasury bill auction, the central bank received bids worth more than 4 times the 4 billion shillings it had sought. Average rates are now at 21.35%. The big news really, and really good news in a bear market, is the full year results. I attended the investor briefing this morning. This is KenGen, Kenya Electricity Generating Company. Look at this, installed capacity was up 20.5%. Big gain, mostly geothermal. Total revenue up 43.77%. Full year profit before tax up 108.99%. Profit for the year up 307.5%. Then they took a big revaluation of the assets that was revalued higher by 36.9%. Dividend increased by 60%. Total headline revenue up 43.77%. Geothermal contributing significantly to both capacity and energy revenue. And basically, and let me just first of all go to some of my tweets. I said geothermal juiced earnings big. And that's not even with a full 12-month contribution. Point of fact, we learned that they've appointed transaction advisors to raise equity funding. Big profit gain, full year profit gain, and it was all about geothermal. I think you'll find really strong earnings. It's a capacity play, and the interesting point is this: they're beginning to increase that capacity meaningfully now, and that's a positive development. And they executed that geothermal expansion in 30 months, which is what you want to see, which was the schedule they gave. So they're on time. And as more and more I look at this, I think it's really a screaming buy, and really strong earnings. My piece over the weekend was staying ahead of the curve. If you haven't read it, have a look. I started by saying I was drinking a fresh coconut at Diamond Plaza last Sunday, and Abdi from Limuru introduced himself. He too was partaking of the same refreshment, and he said, "Ali Khan, what's going on here?" Right about that. Well, plenty's going on, as we've just discovered, and he's right. It's been so fluid, fast-moving late. The Nairobi all-share fell again, down 13.49% year-to-date. Uchumi's putting up its Nairobi mall for sale at 2 billion shillings. This is the Gong Road Uchumi Mega, looking to be sold to the owners of the Thika Road Mall at a price of 2 billion shillings, making it one of the biggest real estate deals this year. Uchumi CEO Kiptich said the Thika Road Mall owners have also expressed interest in acquiring Uchumi's 20-acre piece of land located in Kasarani. The NSE 20 fell to a fresh 2015 low and below the key 4,000 level. We're now down 21.93% year to date through this morning. Obviously, the big events really was this news about Imperial Bank, some rumours of other banks being in the crossfire. If you need to follow the stock market, KenGen trading up very dramatically today. Let me give you the latest price. Latest price 950, up 14.46%. You know, if you ever want to follow the stock market and be in charge of your own destiny, just register at rich.co.ke. Get a password. Any problems, get hold of us, and we'll make sure you can just have it left on your screen as I can. It's traded heavily, 2.777 million shares. You know, opportunities come, they can come in a bear market. This is one of those. I mean, even at this price, which is 950, it's trading at a price earnings ratio of less than 2. It's really quite extraordinary. The shilling is around the 103 level, but obviously we're getting seriously dislocated at the Securities Exchange. In my experience, dislocations tend to last longer and go deeper than most of people really wanted to do. So I still think we're in this correction phase.